Coming up today, a lawmaker from Korea's main opposition party is the new Speaker of the National Assembly. This could mean big changes in the way Parliament is run this time around. North Korea makes another play at talks with the South after a number of failed attempts. Pyongyang proposes the two Koreas hold civilian-level dialogue on reunification. First, US President Barack Obama formally endorses presumptive Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton in a video released by the Clinton campaign. Obama says he's itching to stump against Trump. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello, it's noon on Friday, the 10th of June. You're tuned in to our midday newscast here on Arirang TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broom. We are going to start at Korea's National Assembly, and Parliament has taken on a new look with the election of a new Assembly Speaker and two deputies. Some big changes could be on the way as an opposition party lawmaker has the Assembly's top job for the first time in around a decade and a half. Shin Se-min starts us off.
Chung Se-gyun is the first lawmaker from an opposition party to take the National Assembly Speaker position in 14 years. The last time was Park Kwan-yong of the then opposition Grand National Party in 2002. With the shift in party control of the Speaker seat, the Assembly is likely to face some changes. The Speaker's authority to convene, adjourn, and cease the plenary sessions or committee meetings will now be in the hands of the main opposition party Speaker. The power to appoint the Secretary General of the Assembly Secretariat, a minister-level position, as well as the Deputy Secretary General for Legislative Affairs and the Deputy Secretary General for Administrative Affairs will also be decided by Chung. As a result, political watchers are anticipating that opposition party lawmakers may have a better shot at getting them. Procedural matters related to hearings for justices nearing the ends of their term could also be affected by having a member of the opposition in the Speaker's seat. The terms of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Constitutional Court Chief Justice and the 9 Constitutional Court justices will end within the current Speaker's term. Although Assembly Speaker is expected to be an influential balancer of the political parties in handling legislative procedures, the general consensus is that the decision-making processes will be different to the previous parliament, as 2 of the 3 Assembly Speaker and deputy positions are being held by opposition parties. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has vowed to exert all his efforts on his duties for the remaining few months of his second and final term. The remarks come at a time when there's heightened speculation he may run for the South Korean presidency next year. During a recent trip to South Korea, Ban said he would contemplate his next steps as a South Korean citizen when he returns to his home country. He told reporters Thursday that he will never be distracted from his mandate as Secretary-General of the United Nations. When asked about worries that a possible presidential bid would affect his ability to perform his lead role at the UN, Ban said criticism directed his way was undue and unreasonable. Struggling under the weight of unprecedented international sanctions, North Korea has suggested the two Koreas hold civilian-level dialogue to discuss ways to reunify the peninsula. The latest proposal comes just 3 weeks after Seoul rejected Pyongyang's offer for military talks. Connie Kim has a report.
Having failed at its previous attempts, North Korea is again proposing dialogue with the South, and this time it isn't limiting it to just military or government talks. The North state-run Korean Central News Agency said Friday that Pyongyang wants to hold a gathering of South and North Koreans who hope for the reunification of the peninsula on the 71st anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. The report didn't specify a time or place for the gathering. North Korea says it would be an opportunity to discuss ways to reunify the peninsula and ease tensions. In return, the North called for a halt of all military exercises for war, unity, and push for reunification under a confederation with autonomous governments. North Korea's latest offer comes just a few weeks after Kim Jong-un proposed inter-Korean military talks during the Workers' Party's landmark Congress in May. The South Korean government has stressed there will be no dialogue until the North shows a willingness to give up its nuclear weapons program. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
North Korea is reportedly sending soldiers disguised as workers to the Middle East as part of its ongoing efforts to earn hard currency. According to a report by Radio Free Asia, Pyongyang directed one construction company to send around 1,500 troops to Kuwait and Qatar over an unspecified period. Another company has sent about 70 soldiers to Kuwait since 2010, but that number is apparently increasing every year. The report says part of the reason soldiers are being sent is the regime has more control over soldiers than civilian workers sent overseas, and there's no pressing need to actually pay them any money. Civilian workers dispatched abroad by North Korea have reportedly complained they are losing jobs to the soldiers, who they describe as aggressive. Now, in a massive boost to her campaign, Hillary Clinton has won President Barack Obama's endorsement as his favoured successor. In a video message released by the Clinton campaign, Obama said the presumptive Democratic Party nominee was so qualified for the job as the US president. Park Jong-ho reports.
In a 3-minute-long video message, President Obama said he was eager to get out and campaign for Hillary Clinton.
I know how hard this job can be. That's why I know Hillary will be so good at it. In fact, I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office. She's got the courage, the compassion, and the heart to get the job done.
Earlier this week, Clinton surpassed the magic number of delegates required to win the Democratic ticket and became the first female presidential nominee of a major U.S. party. The endorsement increases pressure on Clinton's rival, Bernie Sanders, to concede the race. Sanders has not yet offered his all-out backing for Clinton. But after talks with Obama at the White House, Sanders said he would meet Clinton in the near future and work with her to ensure Republican nominee Donald Trump was not elected president in November. The Vermont senator said he would stay in the race until the final Democratic primary vote in Washington, D.C. on June 14th. Wrapping up his video message, Obama called for the Democratic Party to unite behind Clinton, saying it would ensure not only election victory, but a brighter future for the United States. Park Jong-ho, Arirang News.
Now, staying with international political news, Pedro Pablo Kuczynski looks set to claim victory in one of the tightest presidential races in Peru's history. Officials say Kuczynski received 50.12% of votes. His rival, Keiko Fujimori, daughter of an imprisoned former president, got 49.88%. Fujimori is in no rush to concede defeat, though. She's pinning her hopes on scores of handwritten tallies sent for review, but watchers say it's impossible for her to overtake Kuczynski. An economist who worked at the World Bank, Kuczynski also served as Peru's finance minister and prime minister. He has pledged to foster economic growth using his experience in the financial sector. The volume of crabs being caught by Korean fishermen in the West Sea has plunged over the past year because of Chinese fishing boats illegally working in their waters. South Korea's Maritime Ministry says the cumulative crab catch from January to April came to slightly over 660 tons. That is less than a third of the amount caught during the same period last year. Korean fishermen are pointing the blame squarely at Chinese fishing boats. They're demanding more effective measures against illegal operations. The South Korean government has vowed to take action, but it could prove to be rather complicated, as most of the illegal fishing takes place near the de facto maritime border between North and South Korea. Now, another stark warning on the dangers of air pollution. The OECD says that by 2060, outdoor air pollution could cause up to 9 million premature deaths annually and cost 1% of global GDP unless more stringent policies are adopted. And the news is even worse for Korea. The OECD report says Korea, if it does not effectively tackle the issue, is the only member country that will see premature deaths of over 1,100 per million in 2060, a threefold increase from 2010. It also projects Korea will spend an extra 0.63% of its GDP trying to deal with air pollution. Non-member countries, China and India, are forecast to see the highest premature deaths and GDP loss. The OECD attributed such high figures for Asian countries to their dense populations and high exposure to fine dust from emissions. Kia Motors has been named the most popular brand with the highest satisfaction in the United States. 3 models by Korea's #2 automaker, the Soul, Optima and Sedona, were named segment winners in the US-based 2016 Auto Pacific Vehicle Satisfaction Awards. Kia placed 5th overall in the industry, ahead of luxury brands including Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz and even Porsche. The awards are based on a survey of 65,000 owners of new vehicles in 2015 and helps new car buyers in making purchase decisions. This is the first time a Korean automaker was picked as the most satisfying brand by Auto Pacific since 2009, when its sister company Hyundai Motor secured the top spot. Now, staying with car-related news, and a top official from Mercedes-Benz says fully automated cars will be commonplace on the world's roads in the next 20 to 30 years. Hwang Jie sat down with the German automaker's CEO of Research and Development in North America for the Inside Scoop.
The new Mercedes-Benz E-Class. On top of the hedonistic delights that the German carmaker's bread and butter saloon provides, this new vehicle is also considered to be one of the smartest. Its driverless operation system called Drive Pilot enables the car to accelerate, brake, change lanes, and even bring itself to a complete standstill.
The state of Nevada has just awarded the E-Class the only vehicle with a license to do autonomous driving testing on normal roads. So the vehicle is already equipped with such an amount of sensors and intelligence that it could actually serve as an autonomous vehicle.
So in the race to build fully automated cars, the question is,
how has the direction of development changed or become more focused?
There is a new direction coming up, which is more the revolutionary approach, where you start from scratch to really be able to drive autonomously in every situation.
Nisroy says it's no longer about adding more sensors or cameras, but about how to get cars to think for themselves. While automated vehicles won't drink and drive or doze off at the wheel, they're still unable to deal with unexpected events on the road, which means they lack the ability to make decisions, or in other words, think like a human. Now, the name of the game is bringing the technology that people saw when Google's artificial intelligence AlphaGo defeated Go Grandmaster Lee Se-dol into cars. Given the challenge, major auto manufacturers are striking partnerships with IT giants in Silicon Valley, despite fears that these tie-ups might drag them down to being low-value hardware suppliers in the longer term. Nisroy adds that securing the technology won't be the sole obstacle to driverless cars roaming the streets.
So we have to discuss with the legislative authorities what is possible now, where should the limits be, what will be the way forward, who will certify these systems, who is the neutral body to say they're really safe.
So there are a good number of roadblocks ahead, but as technological development speeds up, Nisroy believes the idea of truly self-driving cars becoming commonplace is still in sight.
If you want to really go to a dealership and buy a car and say, with this car, I'm not going to drive anymore, I'm only going to take a ride, this is going to be in 2030 from now.
And by then, it's likely that machine learning and thinking robots may have changed not just the auto sector, but our everyday lives. Hwang Jie, Arirang News.
Korean researchers have developed a drug delivery system for diabetes medication, building on Google's glucose-sensing smart contact lenses for measuring glucose levels. The method could also have significant implications for drug delivery systems and treatments for other diseases. EG1 has more.
The prevalence of diabetes is increasing worldwide, with the number of people with diabetes nearly quadrupling to 420 million since 1980. Koreans are part of the growing number as well.
Over 5 million Koreans have diabetes, including people at risk for the disease. The estimate goes up to 12 million.
Since diabetes is a lifelong condition, people need to monitor their blood sugar levels every day. To do that, they use a glucose meter, which requires them to prick their finger to get a blood sample for a glucose test. But Korean researchers at Pohang University of Science and Technology have found a new way to both measure glucose levels and deliver medication using a soft contact lens. When a person puts the lens on, a biosensor embedded in it measures the sugar level in the person's tears. With a smart contact developed by the Korean researchers, if the glucose level is too high, an electric current is released, melting a gold film covering the drug delivery system, which releases the drug into the eyes. The technology is expected to help treat eye diseases such as retina diseases and glaucoma.
The big development in this research is that we were able to find ways to deliver the drug through tears, and that we are the first to make a smart contact lens that can treat diabetes.
The research has gone through a technology verification process and is now going through clinical testing, with the hope it will be ready for commercialization after 5 years. 이지원, Arirang News.
Now in sports, Park Inbee has become the youngest player ever to be inducted into the LPGA Tour Hall of Fame. Park, who is just 27 years old, qualified for the feat after she finished the first round of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship in Washington State on Thursday. She's only the second Korean inductee after Park Se-ri back in 2007 and the 24th overall. Now, the qualifications require the player to have a minimum of 10 years on the tour and at least 27 points in individual competitions. Park Inbee fulfilled the 10-year requirement by participating in this recent KPMG championship, and she satisfied the 27-point requirement in late 2015 when she won her second VAIR trophy, given to the player with the lowest scoring average for the year. Well, that's all we have for now on this Friday lunchtime here in Seoul. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.